My name is Jody, and I've served in the Connect Room for about 6 years now.
My name's Carol, and I've served in the Connect Room 5 years with Jody. People come into the Connect Room because they enjoy meeting other people. They're hoping to meet other people, but they're also hoping that someone would care enough to talk to them or introduce them to someone else, or they're new to the church and they just want to see what's happening in the Connect Room, and we have a lot of people that are willing to help them out.
It's everything from answering questions and informational to we end up doing a lot of lay counseling and listening and really kind of figuring out sometimes what's behind the original question. Every weekend, the Lord shows up in amazing, mighty, miraculous ways in the Connect Room. And there is not a weekend that goes by that I am not sitting down with someone and saying, okay, God, humanly I have nothing for this situation, so it has to be all you. And He provides. I think my favorite people to sit with actually are the ones that don't really know anything about the Lord. And they've walked in there because it's a huge, massive church, and so they come in and they might have some, surface question about the cafeteria or the services, and we end up in a conversation and find out that their marriage is falling apart. And sometimes there's a lot of sort of bravado, like, hey, I don't need you, whatever, humor, or
right.
whatever. And you start to get down to the nitty gritty and it peels away.
Right.
And all of a sudden there's this person that really, really needs the Lord.
I've had a young couple, many young couples that have come in that are newly married, and they want to find a small group or they want to serve. And it just really, it affects me and touches me that they actually come back to visit the Connect Room, and then their family is growing. They have children, and then it just makes me aware that God's working in their life and that there is a consistency and His faithfulness.
The majority of the people that we're listening to and sitting with are people who are believers, and they're going through a really hard time. So what they really need is just someone to walk beside and say, remember God, remember, remember, remember. But you have to be careful in how you do that, and that's where the Lord leads, because, again, we can't provide answers, but we can walk. We have lots of resources. But it's been really fun for me to see the Lord bring, for example, a woman who knew from the situation in her marriage that she needed to get her son. It was a fairly abusive situation. They needed to get out. She knew what she needed to do. She heard a message from the Lord right through Lon, and she came to me, and she already had in place a lot of the right thinking, all she needed was someone to kind of cheer her on. And so this was a process that went week after week after week, and she would come in, she'd check in with me, lots of times tears, prayer, and we ended up to be very good friends. She's relocated to a better place down south with family, took her son, we keep in touch. And God has been amazingly faithful to bring back around often those people that I really didn't know how things would end up with them. They were sitting in front of me broken, distraught, and in His mercy and grace, He will often bring them back to me, and I get to see how He has provided for them. Every weekend, and all of my volunteers would say this, He shows up and He works.